A brief history of Muggle awareness of fantastic beasts, astonishing though it may seem to many wizards. Muggles have not always been ignorant of the magical and monstrous creatures that we have worked so long and hard to hide. A glance through Muggle art and literature of the Middle Ages reveals that many of the creatures they now believe to be imaginary were then known to be real. The dragon, the griffin, the unicorn, the phoenix, the centaur, these and more are represented in Muggle works of that period, though usually with almost comical inexactitude. However, a closer examination of Muggle bestiaries of that period demonstrates that most magical beasts either escaped Muggle notice completely or were mistaken for something else. Examine this surviving fragment of manuscript, written by one Brother Benedict, a Franciscan monk from Worcestershire, today while travelling in the herb garden. I did push aside the basil to discover a ferret of monstrous size. It did not run nor hide as ferrets are wont to do, but leapt upon me, throwing me backwards upon the ground and crying with most unnatural fury, "Get out of it, Baldy!" It did then bite my nose so viciously that I did bleed for several hours. The friar was unwilling to believe that I had met a talking ferret and did ask me whether I had been supping of Brother Boniface's turnip wine. As my nose was still swollen and bloody, I was excused vespers. Evidently our Muggle friend had unearthed not a ferret, as he supposed, but a jarvey, most likely in pursuit of its favorite prey. Gnomes. Imperfect understanding is often more dangerous than ignorance, and the Muggles' fear of magic was undoubtedly increased by the dread of what might be lurking in their herb gardens. Muggle persecution of wizards at this time was reaching a pitch hitherto unknown, and sightings of such beasts as dragons and hippogriffs were contributing to Muggle hysteria. It is not the aim of this work to discuss the dark days that preceded the wizard's retreat into hiding point, for all that concerns us here is the fate of those fabulous beasts that, like ourselves, would have to be concealed if Muggles were ever to be convinced there was no such thing as magic. The International Confederation of Wizards argued the matter out at their famous summit meeting of 1692. No fewer than 7 weeks of sometimes acrimonious discussion between wizards of all nationalities were devoted to the troublesome question of magical creatures. How many species would we be able to conceal from Muggle notice, and which should they be? Where and how should we hide them? The debate raged on. Some creatures oblivious to the fact that their destiny was being decided, others contributing to the debate. At last agreement was reached. 27 species, ranging in size from dragons to bundamoons, were to be hidden from Muggles so as to create the illusion that they had never existed outside the imagination. This number was increased over the following century, as wizards became more confident in their methods of concealment. In 1750, Clause 73 was inserted in the International Code of Wizarding Secrecy, to which wizard ministries worldwide conform today. Each wizarding governing body will be responsible for the concealment, care, and control of all magical beasts, beings, and spirits dwelling within its territory's borders. should any such creature cause harm to, or draw the notice of, the Muggle community. That nation's wizarding governing body will be subject to discipline by the International Confederation of Wizards. For anyone interested in a full account of this particularly bloody period of wizarding history should consult A History of Magic by Batilda Bagshot, Little Red Books, 1947. 5 delegations of centaurs, merpeople, and goblins were persuaded to attend the summit. 6 except by the goblins.